So you're interested in purchasing the all-new 2025 or 2026 Chevy Equinox LT or GMC Terrain Elevation, but first might want to know some of the key differences in terms of features, options, packaging, and pricing between each of these two very similar compact SUVs from General Motors. Well, here in today's video, I have access to the 2026 packaging guide for each of these two vehicles. So we're going to be comparing the Equinox LT and the Terrain Elevation, which are the entry-level trim levels in both of the two respective lineups, but there are going to be some key differences specifically on the Terrain side of things where you cannot get those features and options over on the Equinox LT. You do have to step up to a higher trim level. But then we're also going to be covering the pricing for the 2025 model year or the current model year for each of these two vehicles. And given the changes are very, very small to non-existent for 26, I don't foresee any of these prices changing dramatically, but there is going to be a couple new trim levels introduced for the Terrain for 2026 that were not available for 2025 that may impact pricing. We'll have to see on that. If anything changes dramatically, I will go ahead and leave updated information down in the description and or the comment section below with some of that information that is different from this video, but overall, I don't expect any major changes. So without further ado, let's not waste time. Take a look at packaging, feature, and pricing information for the Chevy Equinox as well as the GMC Terrain. So as usual, I want to put a disclaimer here at the beginning of this video that I use the GM Fleet Order Guide as well as the official pricing guide for each of these two vehicles. If you believe anything is incorrect or just need additional clarification, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. I will do my best to answer them and get you that information that you are looking for. And make sure you guys stay tuned for additional content coming here, doing comparisons across the Equinox, Terrain, and even the Buick Envision side of things, because I think there is some very interesting differences in terms of features and packaging, specifically when you add in the Buick Envision to each of these two vehicles that may pique your interest if you are cross-shopping, the compact SUV space, either on the mainstream and or the luxury side of things. But just want to put that disclaimer out there before we get into taking a look at some of these standard features. So starting out as usual with the standard features across both the Equinox LT and the Terrain Elevation in their standard entry-level cheapest form factor. Both vehicles are going to come with the driver assistance safety suite, including adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist with lane departure warning, blind zone steering assist, side bicyclist alert, automatic emergency braking, intersection automatic emergency braking, reverse automatic braking, as well as the safety alert seat, which is the haptic feedback that's been around for going on 10 years now inside of some GM products. So pretty cool to see that that is standard equipment. Also, in addition to this, you have the Google infotainment system, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Sirius XM radio capability, OnStar connected services capable, 6-speaker standard audio system, Wi-Fi hotspot, digital cluster, keyless open and start, remote start, heated seats, heated steering wheel, heated side mirrors, rear AC vents, USB-C charging in both the front and the rear, LED headlights, LED taillights, active noise cancellation, single zone manual climate control, as well as a manual rear liftgate. So those are all going to be standard equipment items that you're going to find on the entry-level LT, Equinox, or Elevation Terrain. Now moving on to the Terrain Elevation standard equipment over that of the Equinox LT, it's actually just one interesting fact, and that's going to be the fact that you could actually get two different cloth interior colors on the Terrain Elevation, where you can only get a black cloth interior or one interior color overall on the Equinox. So with the Terrain, you get the choice of the After Dark by itself or the After Dark and the Gideon Gray interior, which is more of a two-tone effect as interior choices versus the Equinox, where, like I said, it's just that one mostly black interior, which I have showcased here on the channel in a dedicated walk around video. So that's the only difference in standard equipment that I was able to find between each of these two models. And then take a look at the Equinox LT standard equipment over that of the Terrain Elevation. That is non-existent because there's no equipment on the Equinox LT that is more than that or greater than that of the Terrain Elevation. Next up, I want to cover the optional equipment on both of these two models. So you'll have to option some of these option packages on either one if you want any of these features or options. So there's going to be a technology package on either of these two. The names might differ slightly for each of these packages, but the equipment is going to be extremely similar. So with the technology package in either of these two, it's going to include traffic sign recognition, rear pedestrian alert, HD surround view camera system, rear digital camera mirror, as well as LED fog lights. Then there's going to be a premium package and convenience package too, which are tied together on the terrain side of things. I believe it's lumped into one package on the Equinox, just convenience package 2. But nonetheless, the premium package slash convenience package 2 includes the synthetic leather seating surfaces and upgraded wheels on the Terrain, 19-inch technical gray machine face alloy wheels, where on the Equinox, I think it just includes the standard wheel option, which is the 17-inch. So there's not an upgraded wheel, so that is specific to the Terrain, not on the Equinox. But moving on to the convenience package 2, which is also included in this package, you have the 8-way power driver's seat with 2-way power lumbar, dual zone automatic climate control, auto sense hands-free power liftgate, rain sense wipers, heated wiper park, universal home remote, wireless phone charger, roof rails on the Terrain, but on the Equinox, you have to either get the midnight or sunroof also to get the roof rail edition. And then you also have sunglasses storage in that convenience package too. Overall, I think that's a very popular package. Includes a lot of things that people might want on a daily basis, and very useful features, I think, worth the money in general. And then continue on, a couple more standalone options. We have the black or midnight appearance package on each of these two, as well as a panoramic power sunroof, which is about $1,500 as a standalone thing, again, on both these two vehicles. But the roof rails are tied to either the midnight or panoramic sunroof on the Equinox, where they're actually lumped into that, convenience package 2 on the Terrain. So interesting to see that small, difference there, but overall quite similar packaging. Now moving on to the features optional on the Terrain elevation that are not available on the Equinox LT. This is going to be a convenience package 3, which obviously requires those earlier convenience package 2 and premium packages kind of together if you want the convenience package 3. But this is going to include an 8-way power passenger seat with 2-way power lumbar, ventilated front seats, heated second row seats, as well as a memory driver seat, which also ties in the memory mirror function. So very interesting to see that this is available on the Terrain elevation, the entry-level trim in the Terrain, where it's not even available at all on the Equinox LT. You have to get an active Equinox or Equinox RS and equip the convenience package 3 if you want any of that equipment. Now next up, getting to the pricing information that you probably are most curious about between each of these two, and again, it comes in fairly interesting. So again, this is the 2025 model year pricing. I don't foresee any major changes given the vehicles are largely carryover for 2026. Starting out with the Equinox LT front wheel drive, including destination, this is going to come in at $29,995, and all wheel drive will run you $2,000, so that brings it to $31,995. Then I have all of the option packages listed below that. So convenience package 2, depending on if you get the sunroof or don't get the sunroof, will either be $2,200 or $2,050. The Midnight Edition, again, tied to some of the additional options in that package, is either going to cost you $1,045 or $895. Safety and Technology package is going to be $1,085, and the Panoramic Power Sunroof is going to be $1,495, which brings a fully loaded Equinox LT with the Safety Technology, Convenience Package 2, and Panoramic Power Sunroof, not including Midnight Edition, to $36,625, again including destination. Now moving on to the Terrain elevation, an entry-level base Terrain elevation front-wheel drive will come in at $31,395, including destination, and all-wheel drive will be $33,395. The Convenience Package 2 slash Premium Package will be $2,700 or $2,100, depending on if you get, the panoramic sunroof and some of those other option packages. Black Edition is going to be $895, Technology Package 2, $1,085, Convenience 3, $950, and the Panoramic Power Sunroof, $1,495, which brings a fully loaded Terrain elevation all-wheel drive with Premium, Technology, Convenience 3, and Sunroof to $39,625. And if you do remove that Convenience Package 3, because that equipment is not available on the Equinox LT, so to make the vehicles as close as possible to equivalence, is going to be $38,675. So it's going to be $3,000 more than an Equinox for a fully loaded Terrain versus a fully loaded Equinox, or about $2,050 more than that of an Equinox with the same approximate features. So very interesting to me after doing this little analysis and comparison between each of these two, and that, well, for one, that the Convenience Package 3 is available on a base model Terrain, but also that the pricing differential starts out lower and actually grows just a little bit on the higher equipment levels, fully loaded models essentially, because the option packages are priced just a little bit higher than that of the Equinox. So I guess it depends on how you look at it. You can certainly get exclusive features in that Convenience Package 3 on the Terrain Elevation base trim level that you cannot get on the Equinox, but at the same time, that does get to the near the same price point as some of the more fully loaded Equinox Active or RS, with every equipment package that you can get on those. So it's basically whether or not you want to pay that premium on the Elevation trim level, or just wait till the 2026 information and stuff like that does get released from GMC for the Terrain, and see what maybe a Denali and or AT4 comes in price wise. But overall, like I said, it is a little bit of a premium to go with the Terrain, but generally that is going to be the case from a Chevy to a GMC product lineup, and really no difference here in the 2025 or 2026 side of things here. In terms of colors, largely identical between each of these two, both in terms of not only extra cost. There are more extra cost colors on the GMC than there is on the Equinox. For example, some of the gray colors are going to be extra cost on the GMC where they're not extra cost on the Equinox, but both of them will have a handful of extra cost colors. So if you're looking for that, do keep that in mind. But yeah, basically that is pretty much going to do it here, and all the information I have for this video in this comparison. Like I said, stay tuned for a Buick Envision comparison to these other two products as well in their respective trim levels, because that is certainly throws another wrench into the value proposition, if you will, because the Envision, believe it or not, has some really great features in its standard entry-level trim, but is also missing some things that these other vehicles actually do have, either as standard and or optional. So that will be a separate video here on the channel. Make sure you guys check that out if you guys are curious. But overall, let me know what you guys think of the Equinox LT versus the Terrain Elevation. Hopefully I will get hands-on time with the new updated Terrain here very shortly. We know powertrains are identical between each of these two, both in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive configurations. CVT for front-wheel drive, we have the 8-speed automatic for all-wheel drive, and the 1.5-liter turbo with the exact same horsepower and torque between each of these two also. But anyways, leave your comments and feedback down in the comment section below. Again, if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. And as always, I appreciate continued support. If you guys enjoyed this video and or found something helpful, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, hope to see you guys in the next one.